Dan says it's like Christmas. That's exactly what I said.
Definitely like Christmas. Oh.
Oh my god! Hello everyone, welcome back. I haven't done an actual upbeat video in a while, so here it is. I've been filming this for actually over a month now. Must be. Yes, it is. Before we get started, if you're new here, then hi, my name's Ella. I'm 17 years old now. I've just technically finished my A-levels, and ever since we left school earlier, well actually it was like late March, wasn't it? I have been working with my dad full-time on our business that we've been growing for the past couple of years. Now our business is all about teaching other people how to live a low-carb / keto lifestyle, and as part of that we create cookbooks. So last year in my summer holidays I created WTF, our first book, called Where's the Fat. We always had the idea of creating a second book, but obviously it kept being put on hold because my dad was busy, I was busy, and there just wasn't that much time. However, obviously we found out that the country was essentially going into lockdown. Clearly, like everyone else, we needed to adjust our plans a little bit. Prior to lockdown, me and my dad were running workshops around the country, so obviously they had to stop. So we needed something else that would obviously keep us busy, but also so that we could still provide value to our audience, which were constantly asking for a new book. So naturally, we decided to make one, and then we realised that we had our second birthday coming up, so we thought, what better way to launch this book than on our birthday, which was late April time. That gave us around 3 weeks to create a book. So that was already, you know, like a, not stressful, but a tight deadline. And then we decided to also create a mini kids book. Was going to be just like a 20-page, like just an introduction, but it ended up being 60 pages, and that's what this video is focusing on, me creating those two books and showing you exactly how I did it, because, you know, you might find it interesting. But if you do find this interesting, make sure to give the video a thumbs up. I never asked at the beginning of the video, so I thought I would switch it up. So, task one was obviously thinking about the recipes that we would put in this book. Now we have an online recipe library that is free to use, and just like WTF, we knew we wanted to use those recipes and put them in book format because that's what people were asking for. Okay, so March 25th, we're starting the creative process. Now that we knew what recipes we were doing, we obviously needed to get them in a book format, which is where I needed to figure out what the book was going to look like. So I always have a design for the intro and informational pages, and then also the recipe pages. So those are the two designs that I needed to come up with. They're usually fairly similar. I just switch around the colours to like show that they're different things. I got the template that we use for WTF because it already had the margins and everything in that I needed, and I just started playing around with different formats. I knew I wanted something with bold letters. I wanted it to be lighter than WTF. WTF is very heavy on the green and the grey. I wanted this to be more lighter, like really light grey, and also lighter green. One of the things I had to keep in mind when I was doing this design process was making sure it'd be compatible with a wire, because we know that our cookbooks work best when they're wire bound. That's one of our main selling points because it's easy to handle, it can fold over, and our recipes are usually on one page, so it's just nice and sturdy in the kitchen. So I needed to make sure that, for example, the intro page started off with having green lines down the side, but I realised one of them would be covered with the wire, so it would look pretty weird. So then I changed it to the top and the bottom, and it looked fine. So once I had the recipe template sorted, it was time to create a little document full of all the recipes that we already had written up, so that these pages could literally be copied into the book when it was forming, which would be much later on. So this document ended up being about 60 pages, so that was roughly the amount of recipes that we had ready to go already, so that they were in our free recipe library, and all I needed to do was put it in the cookbook format. So that was nice and easy, but it also showed me where I needed, say, photos for recipes that we had already done, clearer instructions, anything like that. It showed me things that we needed to adapt in the recipes that we already had. It also showed me how many recipes we had to do, which was stressful. So I'd been working on that document for a couple of days and it was starting to form. However, the more I was looking at it, the more I was getting confused about which recipes we needed to do and which recipes we'd already written up. If you know me, you know I like to be organised and I like lists. So I cleared off our entire whiteboard in the kitchen and I wrote a giant list. It took me a couple of hours, but basically it was the entire book on a whiteboard. All the recipes we had to do, all the information sections we had to do, everything was on that whiteboard with the little tick boxes ready so that when I had a page completely finished, it could be coloured in. Also helped me and my dad's communication because he works differently to me, but seeing that on the board kind of was an organisation for both of us. I had little dots, little blue and black dots, where the blue was where I needed a photo taken and the black was where he needed to write up a recipe, and it just showed him what he needed to do so that when the dots get rubbed off, I could create a recipe, if that makes any sense. And obviously we were watching Avengers Endgame at the same time because why not? April 4th, more recipe writing. Now you'll notice that there are some gaps in the dates. I literally was working every single day on this book. However, filming the same thing over and over again was a bit monotonous. Just imagine I'm writing more recipes, filling that document out more and more, and also now I started to work on the kids book because we kept talking about it, but I remember saying to Dad, I don't know what this book is going to look like. I need to get working on it so that I actually know what I'm doing. So you don't even see this, but I cleared off another whiteboard and covered that with more tick boxes for the kids book. But first of all, I decided to try and figure out a template for the kids book, and this was quite hard because with FFS, the new book, it was based on WTF. We wanted them to be a series. We wanted them to look like each other, but the kids one, that was something different. It needed its own style. It didn't need macros, but maybe it needed more information. So I needed to figure out a way of getting all of that in a kid-friendly format. So I needed new fonts, new colours, more photos, more recipes, and the hardest thing was the front cover. I was sat there for hours trying to figure out what this kid's cover would look like because I wanted it to be fun, I wanted it to still be our style but something different to the other books, and I was just really stuck. I didn't know whether it needed to be full of colour or whether it needed to be quite simple. None of the Canva fonts were really working out until I found Sensei, which is the font that I ended up using for the front cover, and then I had an idea. I'm getting into a bit of digital drawing and I wanted to see whether what I was thinking about would actually work. So I started to draw. So I spent that evening and a bit of April 5th drawing out a selection of images and to see what it would look like on the cover. And again, it took a couple of attempts because I started off with this full page of coloured blobs and tried to put the things on top, but it was just way too messy. I didn't like it. So I started again, and suddenly, again, another light bulb moment. I found what was in the back of my brain, but I couldn't really picture. I found that. So I started to arrange these pictures and I got the font ready, and suddenly it was coming together. And I always know whether a design is right for me or not for when I walk away. Half an hour, I come back and I look at the thing, and if the first thing doesn't give me I don't know what the feeling is, but it's just like oh, that looks good. If it doesn't give that straight away, it's not right. And this kid's cover did that, and I was like, yay, I figured it out, woo! So, kids cover done. Now onto their recipe pages. I wanted these to be more fun, bright, more like visual, just so that they keep entertained whilst making this food. Again, it took a few attempts, but for some reason I had the colour scheme immediately. I wanted to use our green, our brand's green. I dulled it down a little bit, made it a little bit more transparent just because it was a bit too vibrant. And then I decided on orange and yellow to be their accompanying colours, and that was the trio of colours that has now defined the kids' brand. The title pages were annoying me a bit, so I started off with my drawings. I wanted them to be consistent throughout the book. I started off with them in like a grid format with really small icons, and again it just looked a little bit too, it was just a bit off. I don't know why, but it was just a bit off. I liked the idea, but I needed to change it, and I decided on a similar style to the front cover, but this time the drawings would be specifically focused on either breakfast, lunch, dinner, whatever it was. So then I came up with that title page idea. That was sorted. The recipe page was sorted. It was now a matter of putting all of the recipes in the book again. Now these weren't brand new recipes like FFS were. I'd say maybe 70% of this book is a mixture of recipes from WTF and FFS that are easy, simple, and going to be entertaining for kids. And I'm back to drawing. More drawings. I needed as many drawings for this book as I could get, just so that I had a variety of things and it didn't get too repetitive. I am planning on doing a couple of videos about digital drawing because I'm liking the style that I'm coming up with at the moment. However, I started off with animating some photos I found on Canva and creating them in my own style, and then to make them more suitable to the actual cookbook itself, I decided to animate some of my own drawings so that they could literally be the photos and then also the drawings next to it, and they'd look like the photo, hopefully, if that makes any sense. Some of them I had to combine some of my photos together to make them actually look like the thing. So for example, I had a photo of a Scotch egg closed and then one open, so I put them together to show that that closed Scotch egg was actually a Scotch egg, because Dad thought it was a meatball to start with. Things like that. So Dad was my judge to see whether or not, because I knew what they were, obviously I was drawing them, but giving them to him and saying, what does that look like? If he couldn't tell me instantly, then I needed to work on the drawings, and there were some rejected ones just because they were too detailed, too dull, something along those lines, and I just kept it very, very simple with the drawings themselves. So, it had been a week since I had tried to organise the entire book on one whiteboard, so I thought, let me try and do it again. But instead, I wrote down a timeline of how long we had left, because the deadline was creeping up, how long we had left to get both books done. So I decided to take a page in my journal, a blank page, and just go from start to finish when I wanted everything done. So I decided to get the kids' book out of the way with first, so that I had just under a week to complete FFS. During this whole time, Dad was constantly making more recipes. I was taking photos and he was writing them up. So I knew that if I gave him a couple more days, I would have a lot of recipes that I could just immediately put in the book straight away. So that seemed like the most logical plan. Each day had a large chunk of work. It would be like lunch and dinners of the kids' book, which was a lot to do, but it was still feasible, and I know I could do it because obviously we're in lockdown. We can't really go anywhere. After my one piece of exercise outdoors, I had nothing else to do outside. So I was literally inside for obviously a lot of the day. I had a lot of time on my hands, so I could get it done. I knew I could if I set my mind to it. Keto for Kids was starting to come together properly. I could see it there. It was so close to being done. As I said, I wanted to get it done quickly so that I could focus on FFS fully. But the last step was the index. My least favourite part of creating any of our books is the index. I had to go through all of our recipes, and it was easier for the kids' book because it was all in one document, and I put them all in alphabetical order in my journal. Again, I used a lot of pages in my journal for this project. All in alphabetical order, and some extras, say if they were searching for wraps but the recipe was called cheesy wraps, I made sure both of them were in the index. Once the index was done and all the recipes were done, the last step was adding little details in the book, so getting some of my drawings, adding them throughout the book just for a little bit of pop of colour, a little bit of fun, and just to make it more interesting again. So one of my favourite pages is probably the chocolate milkshake, because it's got little milkshake icons on the other side of the title and it looks so cute. April 12th. It was launch day for the members. So what we do when we launch a product, we have a private members group and we launch it with them first, not only to give them perks of a membership, but it also shows us what kind of demand we have. So whether we need to order more FFS books, whether the kids' books are a hit or not, that gave us a little insight, and it was popular, both of them. I've got everything I need to create a little graphic for the members today. We'll be launching it later this evening, and we were putting it on the site, but only available to them. It's going to be a separate link, kind of like an unlisted video on YouTube. That's how I had to explain it to Dad. So that's going to be going live this evening, and this is when we'll start to see what the reaction is going to be. And we've got 5 days. We have 5 days until we're sending it to the printer, and FFS is not there yet. Everything else is. FFS is in pieces at the moment. Okay, let's get started. The main job for that day was to sort out the prices, the thumbnails on Shopify, the product descriptions, which are always the hardest, and just figure out all the bundles we wanted, finalize everything so that when it went on the store just for the members, so it was like it wasn't fully on the website yet, but we had everything planned out and we knew what we were doing, and we were confident with our pricing. So it got to the time where I needed to form the skeleton of the book. So with these big cookbooks, so like WCF was split into 7 sections, FFS was actually in 6 larger sections. So I needed to start to form those 6 documents so that I could work on them simultaneously. In order to put the recipes into the book, I needed to put them in alphabetical order first, because we like the recipes in each section to start, you know, A to Z. Alphabetical order, that's what that is, Ella. Stupid. So that meant looking at the recipes on the board, which were not in alphabetical order, writing them all down in alphabetical order with the names that we were going to use in the cookbook, because we only had a limited amount of space. So spicy, cheesy tomato chicken couldn't work, it had to be pizza chicken, so that then I could give each recipe its own page, regardless of whether the recipe was written up or not. It allowed me to see the gaps where things needed to be filled in, where I needed photos, where things were completely done. Main meals was definitely the hardest section, just because of the sheer amount of recipes. It took a while to organise that all, but we got it done. We did it. We're fine. The next day, we were still sorting recipes. We were in the second half of the book. We were almost there, but it was still going on. Still painful. My hand was starting to hurt after a while, but yeah, it was going okay. It was going okay. Is this wonky? I can't actually tell. I think it is. We are submitting this book, hopefully on Friday. We have a buffer zone until like Monday evening time, because we want to order it on Friday before 6 p.m. That's the delivery deadline, if you know what I mean, like before 6 p.m. and it'll arrive within the next week. We want to order it on Friday, so we want to get it for the following Friday before our birthday to officially launch it with photos of us holding it. However, if we do need another couple of days, we do have until the Monday to submit it so that we get it for the following Monday, which is when we'll be shipping it anyway, so there'll be no delays in people getting it themselves. It's funny watching this back. We thought we had till Friday. We thought we were fine with shipping. We thought we had the buffer zone. Everything was fine. I have just totted up the pages. We are on page 105. This is what it's looking like so far. So breakfast and breads are completely coloured in. Main meals is actually more done than what that board says. Sides is almost completely coloured in. I just need photos. So that's what we've got going on. Wish me luck. April 15th, I was typing away, and by the way, typing like this in the video turns out is not good for your arms. I had to see my physio friend via Facebook Messenger so that she could help me sort out my shoulders and my arms, because I had just ruined everything. As I was scrolling through the document, the end was in sight. I could see the skeleton of FFS being built up. However, it also was kind of stressful to see huge gaps where maybe a photo wasn't taken or a recipe wasn't done. And yeah, throughout the whole time I knew we were going to get it done, but at the same time it was hard to think that this would actually be over. I felt like I've been working on it for ages, but in actual fact it had only been like a couple of weeks. This clip I filmed, I actually switched sides of the table. I don't know why, but you can see my dad writing up recipes on our recipe library so that I could then put that in the book, and then I was finishing off the end of the book, the more informational part. That is pro multitasking, if I do say so myself. Guess what? It's index time again. Yay. Why do I look like an egg running with the Easter theme seems? Was it Thursday the 16th? And hopefully our last day of actually working on this book. We're planning on getting it done by the end of today. I'm just sat here tediously going through the page numbers. The shipping changed slightly. They extended everything by 1 day. So normally when we order it, we get it a week later, but now we order it and we get it a week and 1 day later. And because we want it by Friday, we needed to order it today with the standard delivery. However, that's not happening because we'd rather have a lot more time to proofread. So instead what we're going to do is fast track, which means we pay more for faster delivery to get it for Friday, and that means we can order it tomorrow, which is what we're going to be doing. Well, it's done. It's actually done. Every single square is coloured in. I didn't film a lot today just because it was very, very stressful at points, but we managed to get it done at 4:30, sent to our friend to flatten down, and now it's with the printers. Success. So we thought, unknown to us, there was an issue with the file upload, and we didn't find out until Monday. Good evening. Just gone 24 hours since we sent the book off to the printers, and today has been exhausting, I suppose. Past couple of days we've just been running off adrenaline, and today it's worn off. It's obviously just like the stress of ordering everything, wondering whether it's actually gonna sell. Tomorrow is pre-launch day, which is gonna be busy. At 12 p.m. we're going to post about the book cover and the kids book and the kids planner. Those two things no one on or outside of the members group have seen yet. So then we start to see the response from that, and we say, look, 3 hours time, we're gonna go live and it's gonna launch. Then we just see what happens. The crazy thing is, when we launched WTF, the first cookbook, it was our very first product. We didn't have the series. Like this time we're launching a series in one go, and WTF just launched on itself because we didn't know how to do this planner. We didn't know how to do the shopping guide. We just knew that we could print a book with a wire bound through it, so we went for it. That was in September, and we had a small audience but nothing big. Our first batch maybe lasted us the first month. We're sat here ordering a batch of 110 because we've realised that's actually better value than the batch of 100, and we don't know whether it's going to last more than a couple of days. April 19th, official launch day. So this was where we were now releasing the book for pre-order for everyone, not just the members. And we were really excited, very nervous to see the response. Again, I was just spending the most of that day finalizing all the tiles, making sure everything looked nice on the Shopify store, making sure I had the collection ready to go live. Okay, we are just under 2 hours away from launch. Look at that. There's the sunlight coming from the roof. We have posted about the Keto for Kids books, and it's getting a good reaction, which is nice to see. We went live at 3 p.m. to show people the books. We immediately saw people going on our site. We were really shocked with the numbers of people that were on our site at one time. That was quite weird to see. We just kind of spent the evening looking at the screen. I'm not even saying kind of. We were shocked. By the end of that day, so the books had maybe been out for 7-8 hours. We had 3 books left of the batch that we had coming in. This was the first thing that we've ever like sold out within a certain time period, and that was crazy. So the next day we did a bit of inventory management. We went through all of our books and decided which things we needed to reorder, including a WTF batch because they had been wiped out with this new launch. People were buying them in bundles, and also we placed another order for FFS. So now we had 2 batches on their way. April 24th. The Keto for Kids books arrived. Now I was really nervous about these. I just didn't know how they were going to look, and yeah. Here's the reaction. Oh, do they look okay?
Oh my god, they're thick.
Oh, thank God they look alright. Wow.
Oh, wow.
Look at the box.
Oh my god.
Let's just say, we were happy.
Alright, thank you. Cheers. Looks like it missed the pickup on Friday.
So it's not going to be here until tomorrow?
No.
Because of a shortage of wire, the books got delayed again. Damn it. Essentially what happened with this was, when I said we uploaded them on the Friday, we thought we were meeting the deadline, we thought we were going to get them the Friday before. Turns out there was a problem with the uploading because the file was so big. So it got pushed to Monday so that they could look over it, the printing company could look over it, and we got told we would get them on Monday. So we were like, no biggie, we weren't going to ship them out until Monday anyway. It would just be nice if we would have had them on our birthday, but we didn't, and that was fine. There was no actual implications of that to anyone else apart from us not having a book. That was it. But because our printing company, obviously like everything else, things are a bit different at the moment, they basically ran out of the silver wire that we normally use. They had emailed to say can they use white wire on some of them, but they had emailed an old email address, so it didn't get picked up by us until the Monday. And so I remember Dad phoning them and just being like, look, when is it coming? when is it coming, because we thought we would be able to ship out today. And yeah, so basically we got told that we're really sorry, the books got delayed again, they'll be with you tomorrow, you'll get both batches on Tuesday. That's it, that's final. So we had planned for Monday to be this really busy day where we would be packaging up as many orders as we could. We would package up the entire first batch, send them off, and then the second batch would come, and on Tuesday we'd do the same again, and we'd have everyone's done and shipped by the end of Tuesday. Because that didn't happen, we now needed to make sure that the Tuesday, when both batches were coming in, we could send out as many as humanly possible. So on Monday we decided we had all the boxes set up, built, but they weren't labelled or anything, they just had the things inside. So what we decided to do was have everything ready so that the boxes literally just had to put book in, seal, done. So we had all the labels printed out, everything like that, and we managed to get through about 100 boxes on Monday, which was a good start. It made sure that when the Tuesday came, we were as prepared as we could be. Finally, they've come. They're here. Dad says it's like Christmas. That's exactly what I said.
Exactly like Christmas. Oh
Oh my god!
Oh my life, that is enormous, Ella.
They're big.
Oh wow. Oh my. There you go. So there's the silver wire one.
Oh, I like it. When I was looking at this on my laptop, it didn't look that big.
No, it didn't. It looks bigger than, it looks bigger as in a book than WTF.
Yeah.
I know it's the same size, but it actually looks bigger.
It's because of the wire. It's wider.
Yeah, it is wider, isn't it? I mean, this is the original version.
The version 1 of
WTF.
batch 1.
And then this is what we've gone to now. Wow.
It is like Christmas. I have to say, that was a very, very good day. That was so nice to see them finally with both their silver and their white wires. They both looked amazing. Basically, Tuesday was just an entire day of packaging and then making sure I had a database that we were going through whilst we were packaging up. So Dad would seal the boxes, hand them to me, I'd tick them off on our database to make sure that they'd all be sent off and we weren't missing anyone. We got through, I'd say, about 80% of the orders that day, and we just left the big bundles to go through on the Wednesday, and everything was fine. So here it is. I have a copy. Yay! So this is one of the last ones of the second batch. Just look how shiny it is. I mean, you can see my camera in the reflection. So there you go. I don't even know what I'm doing anymore. It honestly feels like we've been working on this for like months, but to think we were just writing down what this would look like on a whiteboard literally a month ago, that's kind of crazy. Before I filmed this part of the video, I looked through all of the videos that I'd filmed as I was time-lapsing them, and it was just crazy to see it form from just literally the end of March. This was literally just on 2 pieces of paper. That's all it was. And to see it grow, that was pretty cool. Things did get quite stressful at points, obviously, but now we're in the phase where people have received their books, they're starting to cook with them, they're taking selfies with them, and it is just amazing to see it in so many people's kitchens, in so many people's photos, and see people loving it. This video has been a bit of a roller coaster, showing the book from beginning to end. It's probably going to take me ages to edit, but I hope it was worth it. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't already, and a big thank you to everyone who supported us with this book, because there's been loads of friends that have helped proofread, submitted ideas for various things, given us feedback, and most of all, helped us grow. Thank you. Okay, so I'll see you in the next video. Bye!